For those of you who are unaware of the situation at Burning Man, unprecedented rains have flooded the playa, preventing exit by up to 3 days, putting food, water, and fuel in short supply. So to everyone at Burning Man, may this be an invitation for the greater community to come together, for the ethos to strengthen, for higher natures to prevail, and may this rainbow be a sign that the divine is always with you. Our prayers and love are with you always.
Do you all want to take a dive down into conspiracy theory territory with me for just one moment really quickly? What if I were to tell you all that there was a strange connection between the AstroWorld tragedy and the Burning Man emergency that is currently underway as we speak? Or you know what? Maybe even connection is too strong of a word. What if I were to tell you all that there was a strange coincidence surrounding both of these two events? Now, don't get me wrong. These two events really have nothing to do with each other at all. The only reason I bring up AstroWorld is because when I saw what was going down at the Burning Man Festival, I immediately thought of AstroWorld because I covered that story as well. And that's the last time that we got like a big crazy news story coming out of one of these festivals. But like I was saying, these two festivals really have nothing in common at all. The Burning Man Festival is basically people go out to the middle of the desert for over a week. They party, hang out, and they kind of form their own little society. The AstroWorld Festival is basically a long concert that lasts for a couple of days. People leave at the end of the day. They come in the next day and they watch different rappers perform. So there's not really much in common between these two events except for one small thing: the symbolism. What some would label as occult symbolism. Now, the people who attend Burning Man, the burners, if you will, they don't like when you acknowledge the symbolism that's at Burning Man. But it's kind of hard to ignore. It's all over the place. Now, the occult symbolism that was at the AstroWorld event, where 10 people died, that was really blatant and in your face. It kind of blends in at Burning Man because there's these big art pieces everywhere, but many times, the art pieces are the symbols. You know what I mean? So it's all over the place, but they don't really like to acknowledge that. And to be fair, I don't think that some of the people who go out there really understand the type of things that they are participating in. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to judge anyone. I'm not bashing anyone. I'm not bashing Burning Man. It looks like it would be fun under better weather conditions. I may even go one day. Maybe I'll add it to my bucket list. But there's no denying that there's a lot of weird kind of stuff that goes on out there. And like I was saying, I don't think that a lot of the people, or some of the people, maybe it's even fair to say that the majority of the people, I don't think that a lot of the people out there really understand what they're participating in. Because, you're kind of all gathering together in the middle of nowhere, burning giant wooden statues and stuff. It kind of really looks like a cult. Really, what even is Burning Man? What really even is Burning Man? It's basically like a week-long cult that comes together in the middle of the desert and hangs out for like a week before they disband. If you took a look at the cult playbook, it would just look like a program schedule for the Burning Man Festival. They have so much in common. And to be clear, because people will get really upset, to be clear, I'm not saying that Burning Man is a cult. I'm just saying that y'all do the same things that cults do. It kind of looks like a cult gathering. And I'm not judging anyone, but at the same time, denying that is kind of idiotic in my opinion, because it's literally a bunch of people gathering, creating their own little community, separate from everywhere else. They got their own little rules, their own little regulations. They got their own little ways of life. And, you get together, you have these big meals together. You come together as this one little community separated from the outside world. And then at the end of the day, you all gather around a big, giant effigy or whatever you want to call it, and you burn it, just like a cult would, right? Just like a cult. I mean, honestly, from the outside looking in, it looks like a lot of unsuspecting people go there trying to have a good time and they're partying, and little do they know, they're taking part in like energy harvesting freaking rituals, pagan rituals, and all types of stuff. You know what I mean? That's what it looks like. I'm not saying that's what it is, but when, you got all of these people who go to the middle of nowhere, create their own society, and then start, burning altars and burning, giant depictions of human beings and you name it, it really starts giving off cult vibes. It looks like a poor man's Bohemian Grove. And, over recent years, this festival is not how it used to be. Now there's a lot of rich and powerful people who travel to this festival, right? And it's like, oh, we couldn't allow you at the Bohemian Grove. You're not famous enough, but well, you can go to Burning Man. You know what I mean? It's like the poor man's Bohemian Grove. Instead of all coming together and burning a giant owl, you're burning something else. So I don't think anyone who attends this event should get offended when people point out, the obvious stuff that's going on. And like I said, I'm not here to bash anyone or to criticize anyone. I'm not even criticizing the event. I have my own feelings, but at the same time, I'm just pointing out what happens there. And there's no denying what happens there. We've seen it, and it looks very cult-like. But anyways, that's what these two events, I guess you could say, have in common. But there's also this other really strange coincidence, if you ask me. Some people will think it's nothing. I'm not saying it's something, but it's just another one of those coincidences. We talk about coincidences so much on this channel. Isn't it odd that all of these big news stories, all of these big events, there's always these coincidences all the time. I wonder why. Well, anyway, the AstroWorld tragedy, it took place on November 5th, 2021. Over, I believe it was 10 people lost their lives. If you go back and watch my coverage of that event, there was a lot of weird things going on. There was a lot of weird symbolism. There was some weird messaging in the promotion of the event. Watching people's dead bodies get lifted out the crowd as Travis Scott was rapping and singing, standing over them. It was really kind of creepy. And all of the people there really felt like there was some type of demonic stuff happening at that festival, right? And when you point out like, oh, that looks satanic or demonic, people get like they get kind of like all like, oh God, well, what do you mean? You know what I mean? They get really iffy when you point that stuff out. But meanwhile, these people will literally be dressed as the devil with demons dancing on stage with huge depictions of the Antichrist behind them dancing and rapping. And then when you say, oh, that looks satanic, people get upset. But anyway, yeah, there was some demonic satanic stuff that looks like it was going on at AstroWorld. November 5th, 2021. Fast forward to September 2nd, 2023. That's when this Burning Man festival was announced an emergency. Oh, there's a national emergency at the Burning Man festival. September 2nd, 2023. Now, here's the weird coincidence. If you look at the dates, November 5th, 2021, September 2nd, 2023, there is exactly 666 days between both of these events. 666 days. From the day that all of these people died at AstroWorld to the day that Burning Man was announced an emergency disaster or whatever they called it. 666 days between both of these events. Now, maybe it's nothing. I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's nothing. But if you know, you know. And if you know, then you know that the powers that be, they're obsessed with numbers and numerology. We see these weird patterns all the time. It's all about the numbers. And if you could follow the numbers and you can, really hone in on it, you could really figure out things that are going to happen before they happen. You will always see these strange connections with numbers when it comes to a lot of the stuff that's going on in this world. Now, like I said, it may be nothing, but at the same time, I'm just wondering, why is this Burning Man such a big deal this year? Are they really just trying to get more people to pay attention so we could all watch them burn this giant effigy in the middle of the desert? Because let's be honest, a lot of you never even heard of this event. And even those of you who have heard of it, you wouldn't care about anything that's going on down there right now if it wasn't for all of these people being stuck. So now it's like they got even more eyes on this situation than ever before. Maybe that's the goal. But maybe that's just a reach. You let me know what you think. But right now, I'm just interested in hearing your thoughts. Do you think that this is some type of conspiracy? Is this a strange connection? Or is this just another one of those weird coincidences that we see all the time? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.